Welcome to the Mount Pleasant podcast, featuring discussions and interviews about the people, places, and events that make Mount Pleasant such a special place.
This is the Mount Pleasant podcast. I'm your host, Brian Cleary, and all thanks to the great people of Mount Pleasant Magazine, I get the honor, the privilege of introducing you to Mount Pleasant, the people who make it such a special place to do business, to work, and even to live. We're introducing you to Mount Pleasant's best on the Mount Pleasant podcast. Introducing you to the best and brightest of Mount Pleasant. That's what we try to do here, both on the pages of Mount Pleasant Magazine and here on the Mount Pleasant podcast. And there are organizations that assist in that. And today we'll talk about one and talk to the president-elect of the Mount Pleasant Chamber of Commerce. I'm Brian Cleary, joined by Kathi Herrmann. Kathi, the marketing director of the Mount Pleasant Town Center. Kathi, how long have you personally been involved with the Mount Pleasant Chamber of Commerce?
Hi, Brian. I joined as soon as I moved here in February of 2016. So it's almost been 8 years. One of the first things I did to get myself acclimated to the area was to find the chamber and join. And Vicki Boyd, actually, the former editor of the publisher of the Moultrie News, is the one who originally got me involved and brought me to my first meeting.
So you're the president-elect to somebody who has probably everybody's heard the words Chamber of Commerce, but how would you explain to someone, here's what the Chamber of Commerce in Mount Pleasant does?
Oh, it's hard to answer that. How much time do you have, Brian? I mean, listen, this chamber, and I've said this before, I've worked with a lot of chambers in my 30 plus years career, and some are really great. Some are not so great. This one is beyond great as far as I'm concerned. And I think it's a very special organization assisting businesses east of the Cooper. So it is the Mount Pleasant Chamber of Commerce, of course, but we also do cover Daniel Island, and we cover those businesses out on Clements Ferry. So anything east of the Cooper is really welcome to be a member of this organization. And it really is to support business. That's what this is about.
Is it more the people that are part of the Chamber of Commerce that make it so outstanding? Or is it the things that you as an organization, as this group of people are able to do in the community?
You know what, Brian, I think it's actually both. And that's a really great point. Our members are amazing. Right now, we are a little above 400 members, and we continue to grow. And the members are what makes the chamber so successful, because they are involved and they care. And as you also said, I think it's what the chamber offers their members, right? So as a member, you would not want to get involved if there was nothing to get involved in, right? So I think it's really a mixture of those two things that makes me so honored and excited to be leading this chamber this year. It's something that I've always wanted to do, but as I had mentioned before, I never really found a chamber where I thought that my skills could fit. And this one, I do, and I'm very, very excited about it.
So for somebody who does own a business east of the Cooper, a manager, somebody like that who thinks, all right, I'm gonna explore the Mount Pleasant Chamber of Commerce. You're the marketing director of the Mount Pleasant Town Center. So could you give me an example or two of how the Chamber of Commerce helps you in your role with the Mount Pleasant Town Center?
Well, sure. I'll tell you. Initially, is making contacts. Right. I was new to the area. I moved here with my husband. I didn't know anybody. I had no friends. I had not even no one even in the state of South Carolina did I know. And so when I'm working here at Town Center, it's going to take me time as a new marketing director to be able to make those partnerships and meet those people that I want to do business with. Exactly why the first thing I did was reach out to the chamber. And it was funny, Brian, because it was not the chamber then. It was still the Mount Pleasant Business Association back in 2016. So we hadn't even officially become a full-fledged chamber yet. But again, it excited me. The minute I got there, I sat at a table and I met all these people. And I'm starting out in my new career here. And I met that first luncheon, I'm going to say 3 or 4 people that I still talk to this day, whether they help me with my actual business. So perhaps balloons or some kind of entertainment, or, of course, Mount Pleasant Magazine, right? I met them all that first year here, or personally, right? Because I can't evolve in my job if I'm not involving personally as well. So meeting so many people made me feel welcome and made me feel like I made the right decision, uplifting my life and moving here. But it was all, I had to take that first step. And business wise, that was the best first step I ever took.
So now is the correct way to address you now? Is it Madam President or just President? Or is there anything the other members of the chamber refer to you as?
Well, apparently I'm going to get my own nickname. From what I understand, Jennifer Maxwell was our president for 23, and she was the first female president of the chamber. So she will forever and always be Madam President. So once I have my official nickname, I will certainly let you know.
Podcast advertising is the new way to reach your best audience. Podcast advertising gives your business a voice of authority. Be heard. Advertise on one of our podcasts. Visit carolinapodcasts.com or call 843-345-7012.
You're listening to the Mount Pleasant Podcast.
Kathi Herrmann is the marketing director for the Mount Pleasant Town Center, but she is also the newly elected president and will take over in 2024 of the Mount Pleasant Chamber of Commerce. And Kathi, you mentioned really the history of the chamber itself isn't all that big, but you guys have managed to do a lot in the 7-8 years since you become incorporated, shall we say, as a chamber.
Oh, absolutely. And I believe before it was the Mount Pleasant Business Association, it was the East Cooper Merchants Association. Wow. So I believe it goes back to the 90s. I should know that, and I will learn that. But since we've been the chamber, the amount of things that we do continues to grow. Of course, one of the most exciting things, Brian, is our new offices. We finally have offices. Now, when you typically go to or join a chamber, they have a space that you could go to and get information and meet people. And that's one thing we never had. And thanks to our friends at Pinnacle Bank, we were able to open offices in the old Pinnacle Bank offices right on Johnny Dodd's, right by the bridge. It's so exciting. We have conference room space, and we have a whole wall filled with information on all of our members. New businesses are welcome to come in and meet with either Marion or Rebecca, our staff members, to talk about the chamber, instantly sign up for the chamber. We have some offices that we'll be able to work with our tenants, our members to rent, and just being able to have a space together. We're really excited about that. That's a huge thing for us. That was one thing that we always wanted, and we finally got it.
Let's talk about the Mount Pleasant Chamber of Commerce and the Mount Pleasant community. As a Chamber of Commerce, it's all about businesses, but if I'm just somebody who works or doesn't own a business, how is it that I'm affected by the Chamber of Commerce?
Well, individual memberships are always welcome too. You do not necessarily have to run a business. Of course, that's our primary focus, but you're right, Brian, we do a lot with the community. We actually have a committee dedicated just to helping out with the community engagement the community engagement committee. And they work a lot with DSS on helping with journey bags. We do a scholarship every year for a top performing senior at a local high school for college, which is so much fun, the Joe Brinson Memorial Scholarship. We do volunteering and at Echo, and we've done volunteering out at Wynwood Farms. And so if you want to just get involved with the community, you can do that as well through us.
And so I'll see photos, say on social media or something, the chamber's always out at a ribbon cutting ceremony for a new business. So there is that angle, but you guys do go beyond that and are in a way a charitable organization in terms of the way you help.
Oh, exactly. And we're continuing to grow that as well this year. One of the things that we're looking to do is add more volunteering and or community programs to our already busy schedule. But we realize how important it is to be a part of the community since we are part of the community. If you join right now, Brian, we have 4 events a month for our members. And we do that because we know people have specific times when they're available to come. So for instance, we have a before 9 for those who love their breakfast meetings, so they can still get to work on time. And then we also have our monthly luncheon every month. So if you can get out at lunch, we also have an after hours every month. So if you prefer to be able to come after work. And of course, we also have another program that we've started, which is the Young Professionals Group. They meet once a month as well. And that's for our professionals from the ages of 21 to 40. And we also, that wasn't enough. So we've created a women in business group. It's called RISE, Reach, Inspire, Support, and Empower. And right now we're having quarterly events for this group with the hope that eventually we'll have monthly events for those too. And that doesn't include all the ribbon cuttings that you mentioned and anything else that's going on in the town that we get involved with.
So if someone is an individual, they live in Mount Pleasant, Daniel Island, whatever, or someone has either established a business, starting a business, they want to become a member of the Mount Pleasant Chamber of Commerce, take me through that process? What's the first step I should take?
It is the easiest thing in the world. You log on to mountpleasantchamber.org, and when you get to our website, you'll see a big button that says Join Now. And you click on that, and it's such an easy process to get involved. Of course, there are all of the board members and the committee members' information is also listed on the website. So if you have any questions, feel free to just click on anyone. So for instance, if you're interested in joining, but perhaps you'd like to be a part of the marketing committee, and I'm going to talk about the committees again in a second, please go ahead, log on. You can click on the marketing committee. You can send an email to our chair, Mike Compton, ask him any questions that you would like. And that's all involved. If joining the chamber is one thing, Brian, getting involved is a whole nother thing.
Well,
right?
let me follow up on that a little bit, because sometimes you join an organization and there's requirements that you do X, Y, and Z. So as a chamber member, hey, I'm running my business, I'm doing this. Are there things that I have to do, or is it I'm open to be very participatory or not on my own time and effort, I guess?
Yeah, there are no requirements, but as you just mentioned, you can join something, and then if you don't go to anything or get involved in it or have any kind of participation, is there really a point in joining?
All right.
And with everything that we offer on a monthly basis, on a yearly basis, there's no reason why you shouldn't be able to participate. It starts when you first join. We actually have a new member coffee programs. Where when you're a new member, we invite you to a very small, intimate meeting to meet some of the staff and to discuss all the great things that the chamber has to offer, how to log on to Chamber Master and update all of your information, all that. It starts with that, and then it just continues. We do touch bases, making sure we'll follow up with you if you go to an event, see how the event was. We ask a lot of questions. We're always looking for ways to continue to improve our services and to grow, of course. But get involved. That's the one thing I've always said. If you want to make the most of your membership, then you need to get involved.
This is where the pages of Mount Pleasant Magazine come alive. It's the Mount Pleasant Podcast. We introduce you to the organizations, the groups, and the people that make Mount Pleasant the very special place it is. I'm Brian Cleary, and today I'm joined by the newly elected president of the Mount Pleasant Chamber of Commerce. She's also the marketing director of the Mount Pleasant Town Center. Kathi Herrmann joins us. Kathi, I know it's not just you, so tell us about your leadership team and the other people at the Chamber of Commerce who really make things happen.
Well, I'm very excited about this year's team executive board. Of course, myself, the newly elected president. This year's president-elect is Tammy Becker. Tammy Becker is the COO of Pigtails and Crew Cuts Children's Salon, amongst other things that she does. And then we're very excited. Our new vice president is Karina Garrison from Pinnacle Bank. So those are the top three positions. And then the part of the executive board is also our immediate past president, who is Jennifer Maxwell of Rains. And then we also have Chris Dobbs, who was our president emeritus, and Eddie Phipps from Phipps Law Firm is our attorney of record. So it's a great group of people. And I'm excited to all the stuff that we're going to do. We also have three paid staff members. The rest of us are all volunteer. And that's another thing we can talk about, right? Because we all volunteer to do this. But we have three paid staff members. Rebecca Imholtz, the amazing director of the chamber. She's been with us for years, and I'm not sure the chamber could run without her. And Marion Lovett, who is our new office administrator, and she's been doing an amazing job. We're so excited. We were able to hire her once we got our office space because we want to be open to the public. So Marion will be there to welcome you. And Tamara Cornwall, who is another assistant of ours. She's been around since day one, I think. But they're all just an amazing, supportive group. We could not do what we do without them, especially for the reason I told you. The entire executive board is all volunteer. So we all have our full-time jobs, sometimes 40 or 50 hours a week jobs, and then we volunteer our time to make this chamber the success that it is.
And that was really what I was going to follow up on, because I know you personally, marketing director of the Mount Pleasant Town Center, not a 40-hour-a-week job. Now you're president. You're also involved with so much that the chamber goes on with, and so much inside the community. So what's the secret to finding the time, whether it's you, your leadership committee, to really commit to doing some things with the Chamber of Commerce?
Well, I think it's the same with this as with anything else that you do on your daily life, Brian. If you don't love it, right, then you don't find the time to do it. So I do my job, which I love, which I hope everybody, I hope everybody enjoyed the holidays and had our beautiful new Christmas tree. We worked very hard for all of that here at Town Center. And we're really excited about things going on this year. But at the same time, I have really, this chamber means a lot to me. And I think, again, you said, you know me, right, Brian? We're friends. You know how I get when there's something that I care about and support a lot, yes. Right? Mm-hmm. So somebody said there's not a charity out there that Kathi doesn't love. But seriously, it's this chamber and the way it was created, and just the focus and the things that I've learned and the people I've learned. And I know it sounds silly, but it's like a family. And once you get involved in this, I make the time because I want to make the time, and I will continue to make the time throughout my presidency this year. And then I'll be on the board for one more year, the following year. Then after that, I'll get to go back onto a committee that I love. But you make the time to do it. There's never enough time in the day, right? But
absolutely.
But there's also priorities and things that are important to you. And this is certainly one of them.
And anybody that knows your work at the Mount Pleasant Town Center knows the charitable aspect of what events that happen at the Town Center. I know that'll spill over to the chamber. And I know in a lot of organizations, you mentioned the word committees a couple of times. Committees is where a lot of the work gets done. So what kind of committees does the chamber offer up for its members?
Well, I'll tell you first, when I joined, I was a member for about 6 months, just going to the meetings and to things like that. And then I decided to join the membership committee because I said, wow, if I'm gonna have the ability to go out and try and find members, then that's just gonna help me in my business, right? So I joined them, and I stayed on the membership committee for 2 years before I slowly made my way up through the board. But it's just such a great way to get involved. That we have a marketing committee, if you like marketing, which of course every executive member of the board also serves as an advisor to one of our committees. So I've been blessed to be on the marketing committee, which I love. Mike Compton is our chair, and he is just crazy good. We also have the philanthropy committee, which is now the community engagement. That's where we do all of our charitable work for. We have the young professionals group. So anyone from 21 to 40, great opportunity to network, to meet people, to learn about business. We're going to be starting some special programs for this group as well next year, in addition to their fun networking happy hours, mentorship program, special speakers for topics focused on that age group. I don't remember what it was like to be 21 to 40, Brian, but I'm sure I'm sure there's stuff out there.
That's right. It's too long ago.
Exactly. But that's just a great group. And I also mentioned our women's group, Rise. We have a new Kendall Costi is our new committee chair for that particular program, which is great. We have the ambassador program. The ambassador program is the one that comes up with all of our programming and our greeters at all of our events. I think that might Expo committee. Can't forget the Expo committee.
Yes.
Our Mount Pleasant Chamber of Commerce Expo is held every September. It's the largest expo in the area, business expo in the area. Last year we had over 90 vendors, and that's held every September. And Ben Knight's been leading that for a very long time, and he does a great job. That's another amazing way to go out of you you don't have to go out of your way to meet new people. You're working with these vendors, getting them involved. It's easy way to meet new business.
Well, and it's great the way that the chamber has set things up, because as you said, some people are for breakfast, some people after hours, lunch works for some people. But when you do split her off into groups, the young professionals, the women, is there some cross-pollination as well? Is there an area where it's not, hey, all the old guys are here and the young people are here? Do you guys mesh well?
Oh, absolutely. If you think about it, the young professionals group is a certain age group, but then all the women can still come to the Rise group. Right. So
Okay.
it's certainly a cross-pollination. Now, I actually try my best to go to everything but young professionals group, because I don't fit into that age
You
range
could still
anymore.
pull it off.
Everyone-
Come on.
Every once in a while, I'll just stop by and wave and say hi. But I do try to go, and there are there is a lot of crossover, and that's the best part about it, though. You can go to one or you can go to all, and we've done that to give everyone as much opportunity as they possibly can to get involved.
So look forward to 2024. You'll be the president for the entire year for the Mount Pleasant Chamber of Commerce. What are some of the goals that you have for the organization while you're in that leadership role?
Well, my goal, I joke with Jennifer Maxwell about it all the time, and I'll say this, obviously, my goals were to have a women's group and to have an office, right? So she went and she stole my thunder and started a women's group and got us the offices. Which is lovely. And like I said, I joke with her all the time that now I don't have to do anything because I've already met my goals. Saying that, just growing, we really still want to grow, Brian. I think that there's so much opportunity out there. I think it's exciting that we range a little over 400 members. But I know that there's so much more potential out there to get so many more members. And so my goal, I really want to increase membership. I want to utilize these offices to the best way possible, and give everyone who's a member, a special place to go, and to feel welcome. I'd like our membership to get more involved. Our committees are wonderful, but sometimes it's hard to get new blood in them, right? Because people, again, you said they're busy, and I really want to take some time to speak to our new members and say, explain the benefits of getting involved and trying to enhance our committees a little bit more, maybe even coming up with new ones, right? You never know. That's the one thing we love, is that we listen to what everybody says. We take everything into consideration. And, I think there's a lot out there that we're not doing yet, and we'll just continue to do it.
So at the end of the day, it's cliche, I guess, in a way, but membership has its benefits. And again, something that people that you've informed me and educated me on. So if I own a business, I become a member of the Mount Pleasant Chamber of Commerce, but as an individual, I can also belong.
Yes, absolutely.
And that first step to membership is, again, going to the website?
Yes, mountpleasantchamber.org. Again, big green box that says join now. It will walk you through. There's several levels of memberships. There's a basic membership, there's an associate membership, and then we do silver, gold, platinum. We do, of course, the town of Mount Pleasant is a huge partner of us, and they are our municipal sponsor every year. But there's like I said, there's so many different things about the chamber that I love. One thing we do every month is the First Responder Award. We do that every month at our luncheon, which is the third Thursday of the month. And that's when we select a local hero, as someone who's gone out of their way, whether it's fire, police, EMS, airport. I mean, we've done all of them. We've even celebrated the amazing life of Nico the dog, that unfortunately was taken away from us too soon. They were recognized for their life dedication. And we do that every month, and it just, to me, again, community, right? And to be able to thank these people in person, it really means a lot to me. It's one of my favorite things of the month.
Community is what it's all about. It's a great community that we live, work, and play in here in Mount Pleasant. This is where the pages of Mount Pleasant Magazine come alive. On the Mount Pleasant podcast, she'll be your new chamber president for 2024. You'll also see her all the time at the Mount Pleasant Town Center, the marketing director there. And so for now, it's just President Kathi Herrmann. No additional phrases need to be added, correct?
Not yet, but I will let you know when I finally get one.
We will look forward to it. It's been a great chat today. Kathi Herrmann, the president of the Mount Pleasant Chamber of Commerce, an organization making a difference here in our community. I'm Brian Cleary. Thanks for joining us today here on the Mount Pleasant Podcast.
Thanks for spending your time with the Mount Pleasant Podcast, your community, your podcast. Listen to past and future episodes at mountpleasantpodcast.com.